Picture this: the faint hum of a lawnmower in the distance, the scent of freshly cut grass slipping through an open window, and me standing in front of a mirror, smoothing down a dress I've worn 100 times before. My name's Lauren, and at 40, I've got a life that looks like it was ripped straight from a glossy magazine. I live in a suburban dream, white picket fence and all, with my husband Victor, in a home that could grace the cover of any home decor spread. Sleek lines, modern furniture, art on the walls that we picked out together on some whimsical weekend getaway. It's the kind of place where everything has its spot, where every detail screams curated perfection. And Victor? Oh, he's the man who makes it all shine even brighter. Mid-40s, with a charisma that could light up a blackout, he's got this booming laugh that fills a room, a way of making everyone feel like they're the most important person there. He's successful too, the kind of guy who walks into a boardroom and owns it without even trying. At parties, he's the center of attention, cracking jokes, pouring drinks, his hand always finding mine to pull me into the spotlight with him. Our life is a whirlwind of social gatherings. Almost every weekend, our house buzzes with friends, neighbors, colleagues, anyone Victor's charmed into our orbit. The living room echoes with laughter, the clink of wine glasses, the hum of conversation. Victor loves these nights, thrives on them, and I've learned to play my part. He'll raise a glass, his voice carrying over the crowd, and call me perfect, his perfect wife, his perfect partner. He brags about me like I'm some kind of prize, his arm around my shoulders, showing me off as if I'm a shiny new car he just drove off the lot. And everyone smiles, nods, toasts to us, while I stand there, my own smile polished and practiced, nodding along. It's flattering, sure, on the surface. Who wouldn't want to be adored like that? But beneath the compliments, there's this quiet ache, this feeling that I'm not so much a person to him as I am a trophy, something to display, to prove his success. I'm not Lauren in those moments. I'm an extension of Victor, a piece of the perfect picture he's painted for the world to see. Then there's Adrian, Victor's best friend since their college days. He's always there, a fixture at our gatherings, slipping into the background while Victor takes center stage. Early 40s, with sharp features that could cut glass, Adrian's got this intense gaze, eyes that seem to linger just a fraction too long when they meet mine. It's not threatening, not exactly, but there's something in it I can't quite place. Something that makes the air feel heavier when he's around. He's quieter than Victor, more reserved, always polite with a nod or a small smile. But there's a depth to him that Victor doesn't have, a stillness that feels like it's hiding something. I've caught myself wondering about it more times than I'd like to admit, especially on nights like tonight, when our house is alive with yet another party, another performance. The air is thick with the scent of grilled steak drifting in from the patio, where Victor's manning the barbecue like he's hosting a cooking show. Inside, the living room is a sea of familiar faces, the clinking of wine glasses punctuating every burst of laughter. I'm in the middle of it all, dressed in a sleek navy number that Victor picked out last week. My hair swept up just the way he likes it. His hand rests on my lower back, warm and possessive, as he steers me through the crowd, introducing me to a couple of new faces, some colleagues from his latest project, I think. His voice booms with that same rehearsed charm as he says, "This is Lauren, my better half, the woman who keeps me grounded. Isn't she just perfect?" I smile on cue, tilt my head with a soft laugh, and murmur something polite about how nice it is to meet them. It's a script I could recite in my sleep, and I play the part flawlessly. But inside, there's nothing. Just this hollow space where I used to feel something real. Every compliment, every admiring glance from the guests, it's all part of the show, and I'm just the prop in Victor's grand production, I glance around the room, needing a moment to breathe. And that's when I see Adrian. He's tucked into a corner near the bookshelf, half hidden by the crowd, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He's not mingling, not laughing with the others. He's just watching. His gaze sweeps the room with a quiet intensity, like he's studying every detail, every person, taking it all in. For a split second, his eyes meet mine across the crowded space. There's a flicker there, something unspoken, something that sends a tiny jolt through me. I don't know what it means, and I don't want to think about it too hard, so I look away, focusing on the glass in my hand, the way the light catches the edge of the crystal. But that moment lingers, a tiny crack in the polished surface of my evening. Victor's grip tightens slightly on my back as he launches into a story I've heard a dozen times, something about a deal he closed last month. The crowd around us chuckles, and I force another smile, nodding along as if I'm hanging on his every word. But my mind is elsewhere. I'm suffocating under the weight of his need to showcase me, to parade me around like I'm proof of his success. It's not just tonight. It's every night like this, every weekend, every event. I've started to wonder if I'm even happy anymore, or if I'm just so good at performing that I've forgotten what happiness even feels like. The party drags on, hours blurring into a haze of forced smiles and empty small talk, until finally, the last of the guests trickle out into the night. The house falls quiet, save for the faint clatter of glasses and plates as I start tidying up. Victor, as usual, has collapsed onto the couch in the living room, his tie loosened, a half-empty beer bottle dangling from his hand. I can hear his snoring already, a low rhythmic rumble that cuts through the stillness. It's just me now, or so I think, until I hear the soft shuffle of footsteps behind me in the kitchen. I turn, and there's Adrian, his sleeves rolled up, a stack of dirty plates in his hands. He offers a small, almost sheepish smile, murmuring something about not leaving me to clean up alone. I nod, grateful for the help, but there's an undercurrent of something else, something I felt earlier when our eyes met across the room. We work in silence at first, the only sounds the clink of dishes and the occasional splash of water in the sink. The kitchen is dimly lit, just a single overhead light casting long, jagged shadows across the countertops. The air still carries the lingering scent of wine and cigarette smoke from the party, a stale reminder of the night's excess. Every so often, I catch a glimpse of Adrian out of the corner of my eye, his movements deliberate, almost too precise, as if he's hyper-aware of every inch of space between us. I'm wiping down the island countertop, my hands moving on autopilot when he breaks the silence. His voice is low, cutting through the quiet like a blade. He doesn't realize you don't flaunt what you're afraid to lose. I freeze, my fingers tightening around the damp dish towel. The words hit me like a punch, sharp and unapologetic, peeling back a layer of truth I've spent years burying. I don't look at him, can't look at him, because I know if I do, I'll see that intensity in his eyes again, the kind that sees right through me. My heart is pounding, a wild, erratic beat in my chest, and I'm not sure if it's fear or something else, something I don't want to name. I mumble something incoherent, a half-hearted attempt to brush it off, but my voice betrays me, trembling at the edges. He doesn't say anything else right away. Instead, he steps closer, reaching past me for a glass on the counter. His hand brushes my shoulder, a fleeting touch that shouldn't mean anything but somehow does. I feel the warmth of it through the thin fabric of my dress, and I hate how aware I am of it, how it lingers even after he pulls away. We keep working, or at least pretending to, but the tension is a living thing now, coiling tighter with every second. Then, as I'm stacking plates in the sink, his hand finds my back, resting there under the guise of steadying himself as he reaches for something else. It's not accidental, not this time. I can feel the weight of his palm, the slight pressure of his fingers, and I don't move. I should step away, should say something, anything, to break this dangerous silence. But I don't. I can't. My mind is a battlefield, two opposing forces tearing at each other. There's the part of me that's screaming to stop this, to think of Victor asleep just feet away in the next room, to remember the life I've built, the vows I've made. But there's another part, darker and quieter, that's been buried for so long I barely recognize it. It whispers of want, of need, of something raw and real that I haven't felt in years. It's the part that's tired of being a trophy, tired of being perfect, tired of being seen but never truly known. And as Adrian's hand slides lower, resting now on my thigh, that darker part grows louder, drowning out everything else. My breath catches, a sharp, audible gasp, but I don't pull away. I don't want to. What happens next feels like a dam breaking, a rush of everything I've held back for years, flooding through me in a single, reckless moment. My heart is a drum in my chest, each beat louder than the last, as the kitchen around us seems to shrink, the shadows growing darker, the air thicker. Adrian's touch is a spark that ignites something I didn't even know was waiting to burn. And then, just as quickly as it started, it's over. We pull apart, breathless, the weight of what we've done hanging heavy between us. I can't look at him, not yet, my hands trembling as I grip the edge of the counter for support. The silence is deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the refrigerator in the corner. My mind is spinning, a chaotic whirl of emotions I can't untangle. Exhilaration, shame, fear, and something else. Something I don't dare name. Adrian steps back, his breathing still uneven, and when I finally glance at him, I see a mix of satisfaction and secrecy in his eyes, a look that both thrills and terrifies me. His voice is low, almost a whisper, as he says, "Now I know what he's been bragging about. But I won't brag, I'll just remember." Those words hit me like a wave, sending a shiver down my spine. They feed into this newfound sense of agency I've stumbled into, this realization that I can be more than just Victor's perfect accessory. I feel seen in a way I haven't been in years, and it's intoxicating. But almost as soon as that thrill surges through me, a cold tendril of guilt creeps in, wrapping itself around my chest, squeezing tight. What have I done? What have we done? We don't speak after that. There's nothing left to say, not now. Instead, we move with a kind of silent urgency, cleaning up any trace of what just happened. I smooth out the tablecloth on the island, my fingers lingering on the fabric, as if I can erase the memory of our closeness by pressing out every wrinkle. Adrian wipes down the counter with a damp cloth, his movements methodical, almost too precise, like he's trying to scrub away more than just crumbs. I turn on the faucet, letting the hot water scald my hands as I wash them, watching the suds swirl down the drain, wishing I could wash away the last few minutes as easily. The clink of a glass being set down, the soft rustle of a towel, every sound feels amplified in the stillness, a reminder of the secret we now share. We don't look at each other, don't acknowledge the weight of it, as if pretending it didn't happen might somehow make it true. I step out of the kitchen for a moment, my bare feet cold against the hardwood floor, and peek into the living room. Victor is still there, sprawled on the couch, his chest rising and falling with each deep, oblivious snore. The half-empty beer bottle rests on the coffee table now, a silent witness to his unawareness. I stand there, watching him, and a pang of something sharp twists in my gut. Is it guilt for betraying him? Fear of what this could mean if he ever found out? Or is it resentment, a bitter realization that I've been living in his shadow for so long that I've forgotten who I am without him? I don't know. Maybe it's all of those things, tangled together in a knot I can't unravel. All I know is that looking at him now, so peaceful, so clueless, makes me feel like a stranger in my own life. I turn back to the kitchen, but Adrian is already gone, slipped out into the night without a word. The emptiness he leaves behind feels heavier than his presence did. I stand there alone, the dim light casting my shadow across the floor, and I can't help but think about how this one act has changed everything. I'm not just Victor's trophy anymore, not just the perfect wife smiling for the crowd. Something dangerous has been awakened in me, something I didn't even know was there until Adrian's touch brought it to life. It's a hunger, a need to be more than what I've. A few days have passed since that night in the kitchen, but it feels like a lifetime. Every moment since has been haunted by the memory of Adrian's touch, the weight of his words, the way my own heart betrayed me in a single, reckless instant. I've been walking through my days like a ghost, smiling when I'm supposed to, laughing at Victor's jokes, keeping up the facade of the perfect life we've built. But inside, I'm a storm, a swirling mess of guilt and desire and fear that I can't escape, no matter how hard I try to bury it. Tonight, though, there's no hiding from it. Adrian is coming over again, this time for a casual dinner with Victor and a handful of our closest friends. I've spent the whole day dreading it, my stomach in knots as I chop vegetables and set the table, trying to focus on anything but the inevitable moment when I'll see him again. The house is warm, with the aroma of roasted chicken and garlic, the dining room glowing under the soft light of the chandelier. Victor is in his element, pouring wine for everyone, his laughter booming over the chatter of our friends. I'm wearing a simple black dress, understated but elegant, my hair pulled back in a loose bun, everything about me polished, controlled, just the way it's supposed to be. But beneath the surface, I'm unraveling. I can feel Adrian's presence the second he walks in, even before I see him. It's like the air shifts, growing heavier, charged with something I can't ignore. I keep my eyes on the salad I'm tossing, my hands moving mechanically, but I know he's there, standing across the room, probably watching me with that same intense gaze that's haunted my thoughts for days. I do everything I can to avoid looking at him. I focus on the clink of glasses, the murmur of conversation, the way Victor's hand brushes mine as he passes me a plate. But it's no use. I can feel Adrian's eyes on me, a silent heat that burns through the crowd, pinning me in place even as I move from the kitchen to the dining room, offering smiles and small talk to our guests. It's unbearable, this tension, this unspoken thing hanging between us. I catch myself gripping the edge of a chair too tightly, my knuckles whitening as I try to steady the tremor in my hands. I'm terrified of what might happen if I meet his gaze, if I let myself see whatever's lurking in those sharp, knowing eyes of his. Victor, oblivious as ever, stands at the head of the table, raising his glass for a toast. His voice carries that familiar charm, the kind that draws everyone in, as he looks at me with a proud, possessive grin. "To Lauren," he says, his tone warm but tinged with that same ownership I've come to resent. The woman who makes all of this possible, the heart of our home. Isn't she just incredible? The room erupts in agreement, glasses clinking, smiles all around, and I force my own smile, lifting my glass in return, murmuring a soft, "thank you," that feels like ash in my mouth. Inside, I'm crumbling. Every word of praise from Victor feels like a weight, a reminder of the role I've played for so long, the perfect wife, the trophy on display. And all the while, I can sense Adrian watching, his silence louder than Victor's words, a silent challenge that threatens to shatter everything. I managed to make it through the first course without incident, keeping my focus on the conversation, on the laughter, on anything but him. But the tension is a living thing, coiling tighter with every passing minute, until I can't take it anymore. I excuse myself to grab more wine from the kitchen, needing a moment to breathe, to escape the suffocating weight of his unseen stare. I'm halfway down the hallway, the noise of the dining room fading behind me, when I hear footsteps following. My heart lurches, a wild, panicked beat, as I realize who it is before I even turn around. Adrian steps into the dim light of the hallway, his presence filling the narrow space, and I feel the air thicken instantly, like a storm about to break. My pulse is racing, a frantic drumbeat in my ears, as I stand there, frozen, clutching the empty wine bottle I'd meant to replace. I don't turn around, not yet, because I'm not ready to face whatever's in his eyes, but I can feel him, just a few steps behind me, the weight of his silence pressing down on my shoulders. Finally, I force myself to turn, and there he is, his sharp features half-shadowed in the dim hallway light, his gaze as piercing as ever. We don't speak, not at first. There's no need to. The memory of that night in the kitchen hangs between us, a silent specter neither of us can ignore. Then, with a voice so low it's almost a whisper, he says, "We're good at this, aren't we?" Pretending my breath catches, and I don't know if he means pretending nothing happened or pretending to be just casual acquaintances in front of everyone else. Either way, his words cut deep, a reminder of the secret we're both carrying. I manage a nod, barely, and mutter something about needing to get back to the guests. I brush past him, careful not to let our shoulders touch, and hurry to the kitchen, my hands trembling as I set the bottle down. The rest of the dinner passes in a blur. I keep my distance, sticking close to Victor's side, letting his booming laughter and endless stories anchor me. But even as I smile and nod, my mind is elsewhere, replaying that brief exchange in the hallway, the way Adrian's eyes seemed to see straight through my carefully constructed facade. When the night finally ends, and the last of our friends have said their goodbyes, I'm left with the quiet of the house and the lingering weight of what I've done. Victor heads upstairs, oblivious as ever, while I linger in the living room, staring at the empty wine glasses scattered across the coffee table. That night, as I lie in bed next to him, listening to his steady breathing, I realize something has shifted inside me. I'm not the same Lauren I was before. I've carved out a piece of myself that doesn't belong to Victor, a piece that's mine alone, even if it was born from betrayal. The days that follow are strange, a mix of heaviness and a quiet, unexpected strength. I go through the motions, making coffee in the morning, tending to the garden, answering emails. But there's a constant undercurrent, a secret I carry in every step, every word. It's a burden, yes, the guilt that gnaws at me when I catch Victor's unsuspecting smile across the breakfast table. But there's also this odd sense of empowerment, like I've reclaimed a part of myself I didn't even know I'd lost. I'm no longer just the trophy on display, the perfect wife who exists only in the glow of Victor's praise. I've done something for me, something reckless and wrong, but something that forced me to see myself as more than an extension of him. And that feeling, as twisted as it is, keeps me going, even as the fear of being found out looms like a shadow over every moment. I start watching Victor more closely now, noticing things I never paid attention to before. The way his bravado sometimes falters when he thinks no one's looking. The way his laughter can sound forced after a long day. The little insecurities he hides behind that larger-than-life persona. I see the cracks in his armor, the human beneath the charm, and it stirs a complicated mix of pity and detachment in me. I still care for him, still love him in some fractured way. But there's a distance now, a space where I used to feel tethered to him completely. I wonder if he senses it, if he notices the way I sometimes pull away when his hand rests on my back, or the way my smiles don't always reach my eyes. But if he does, he doesn't say anything. He keeps calling me perfect, keeps parading me around at gatherings, and I keep playing the part, though it feels more like a costume now than ever before. Eventually, I realize that I must shed this costume and find a way to be true to myself, even if it means stepping away from the life we've built together. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.